Hello and welcome. Today's lesson is going to be about inequalities. And inequalities are very similar to equations in which they have 5 steps in order to solve them. First step is to eliminate parentheses. Second step is to combine like terms. Third step is to move the numbers. Fourth step is to combine like terms. And fifth step is to divide both sides. There's one important rule that you need to remember about inequalities. And it is, if you divide by a negative number, then you must flip the inequality sign. So let's see how these rules apply in solving some examples. Here's example number 1. Here I have an inequality and I see I have parentheses. So my first step will be to eliminate parentheses. So basically I'm going to multiply 2 times 1x. Please remember there's an invisible 1 right here, so this is 1x. So 2 times 1x is 2x. And then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. We're going to bring down the negative 3. And we're going to write the inequality sign, which is greater than. And then we'll bring down the 7. So let me go ahead and line up the inequality sign. So that means the inequality sign lines it up. And also, let's write the dash under the inequality sign. Now that I finished my first step, now I'm going to do my second step, which is combine like terms. And I see that on this side, I can combine negative 2 with negative 3. So when I do that, this would be 2x. Negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. And then greater than 7. And please don't forget that little dash underneath the inequality sign. And we're ready for the third step, which is to move the numbers. So in this case, the 2x is not going to move, it's going to stay, so we're going to bring it down. And then the negative 5 is going to move to the other side. So we're going to write the inequality sign, and the 5 becomes positive, and we bring down the positive 7. Now we're going to do the fourth step, which is combine like terms. And basically here I'm going to be able to combine 5 and 7. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to have 2x greater than 5 plus 7 is 12. And here's the dash. And the final step is to divide both sides by the number next to the letter. So in this case, we're going to divide both sides by 2. When I do that, on this side the 2 cancels, so I'm left with x by itself, greater than, and then we do 12 divided by 2 is 6. And don't forget the little dash. So this would be our answer. So let's go ahead and type that. So click X and click this little keyboard, and you'll find the inequality symbol there. And then we write 6. So then press the check mark, and we got a green light. Let's go on to the second example. Second example, I do not have parentheses, so I can skip step number 1 and try step number 2, which is combine like terms. But in this case, there's nothing to combine on this side, and there's nothing I can combine on this side. So let's also skip step number 2 and go on to step number 3, which is move the numbers. That one I can do because I see the 4 will need to move to this side, and the 3x is going to move to this side. So let's go ahead and move those. So that means the x here is going to come down. The 3x is going to come to this side as negative 3x, less than. The 4 is going to move to the other side, and the positive 2 will come down. So if you notice, the 3x move becomes negative 3. The 4 came here and become positive. Now we're going to do the fourth step, which is combine like terms. So 1x minus 3x is negative 2x less than, and then 4 plus 2 is 6. Next step is to divide both sides by the number next to the letter. So in this case, divide by negative 2 on both sides. And let's draw the little line for division. And negative 2 divided by negative 2 becomes just x by itself. And now in this problem, we are dividing by a negative number on the bottom. And one of the rules of inequality is if I divide by a negative number right here, I need to flip the inequality sign. So before it was less than, now it's going to be greater than. So if you notice, I flipped the inequality sign. And then 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. Okay, and I can click right here on the rectangle and I can box my answer right there. Then here I click x greater than negative 3. And click right there, green light. Let's go on to example number 3. Again, on this problem, I do not have parentheses, so I can skip step number 1. Also, there's nothing to combine, so I can skip step number 2. Next step is to move the numbers, and the number 10 needs to move. So we're going to send the 10 to the other side. So that means the negative x will come down greater than, then the 10 goes to the other side as positive 10, and the negative 9 comes down. Now I'm going to do the next step, which is combine like terms. But before that, let me write the little dash. And so if we're going to combine like terms, on this side, on the left side, there's nothing to do, so I just bring down the x greater than, and then 10 minus 9 is positive 1. Put a little dash. And we're going to divide both sides right now because we need to get rid of the negative sign. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 1. And when we do that, we're going to have x. Now, because I'm dividing by a negative number right here on the bottom, I need to flip the inequality sign. And so 1 divided by negative 1 is negative 1. And don't forget the little dash line right there. And we're going to box our answer. Click rectangle. There we go. So this would be x. We'll click right here. Less than or equal to negative 1. We click the check mark. And there we go. We got a green light. So let's go on to the next example. When we look at this example, we do have parentheses. So we're going to multiply. So on this side, there's nothing to do. So we're just going to bring down the negative x. And we're going to bring down the 14. Less than. And now negative 3 times x will be negative 3x. And negative 3 times 2 will be negative 6. Now the next step is to combine like terms, but there's nothing to combine on this side, nor there's nothing to combine on this side. So next step is to move the numbers. So with that, the x is going to stay, but the 14 is going to move to this side. And the 3x is going to move on this side, and then the 6 is going to come down. So let's go ahead and do those movements. So the negative x stays. The negative 3x is going to come as positive 3x. We're going to have less than, and then the 14 is going to move to the other side, so negative 14. And the negative 6 is going to come down. Now we're going to do the next step, which is combine like terms. So we're going to combine these two. And that will give us 2x less than And then we have negative 14 minus 6. It will be negative 20. Then we're going to divide both sides by 2. And we draw the little line. In this case, the 2 cancel, so I'm left with x. Now, I am not dividing by a negative number on the bottom, so that means the inequality sign stays the same. And negative 20 divided by 2 will be negative 10. So there we go. Our answer will be x less than negative 10. Go ahead and click the check mark, and we got a green light. So there we go. Here are 4 examples of solving inequalities and how we use the 5 steps and also the special rule that if you divide by a negative number on the bottom, and only when you divide by a negative number, then you must flip the inequality sign. So in these examples, there were a few problems that did flip and some problems that did not flip. So please be very, very careful. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope this video was helpful. Have a great day, and bye-bye.